native Indians. They were different from the Dravidians. So that's something genetics has 100% proven. There were two distinct populations. You had the Neolithic Iranians, which were the Harappans, and then you had the ancestral ancient South Indian, which were the native Dravidians. Which most Indians are. I mean, I'm not trying to be racist just for genetic purposes. I'm just saying that generally, like lower caste, I'm just for genetic, no racism intended, but the genetic studies show have ancient ancestral South Indian as their main DNA component. Well, and just to be clear, this is no racism, okay, or anything like just for genetic purposes. Um, Traditionally, upper castes will have Neolithic Iranian and Eurasian steppe as their DNA component.
Hmm. So,
What exactly do
when,
you mean by upper
when
caste?
I have a few questions. First of all, how
Yeah.
did you establish that these lower castes and upper castes were not ever living together? And the intermixing of those genetic components did not happen with a cultural exchange, but more of a imposed exchange. And how do you determine how do you determine the direction of exchange? These are all assumed
Yeah,
parameters
that's a good
that you
question.
hypothesize in
Yeah.
every single research.
Well, we can determine that through the presence of weapons and war and basically mass graves of Dravidians.
How?
And it mentions in the
Mass
text as
burials
well.
and mass graves can also be a result of internal conflicts. How do you establish that
Yes,
those
that's
conflicts
true.
happen
But
between the
those,
outsiders and the Dravidians?
okay. Yeah, but those people are different from the Harappans, right? We found, and the culture of the Dravidian, like Dravidian religion, is not. We don't find any. Like, it's rarely surviving. We don't find influence of Dravidian religion on Harappa, but rather we find influence of Harappan religion on Dravidians. Like it's only a one-way flow of culture we're finding, so that
So
indicates an
one
imposition,
one
and
way
we find.
to see. First of all, you are saying that Dravidian information that you have on that culture is very limited. So, and second of all, you are
Yeah.
saying we only have information regarding one culture, so we are assuming that one culture superimposed on the other, but did not leave any proof. How scientific does that sound? Do you really
Well,
realize
actually, we do have of Dravidian religion. The Australian Aboriginals have extremely similar language to Dravidian languages in India, and the genetics are also extremely similar. And so, based on that, and plus we have surviving Dravidian religions like Sarnism and things like that, which are um, very similar to the ancient Dravidian religion, which would have existed in Harappa before.
Array would have
Before the
which would
Harappans
have
came,
which may
before,
have and which do these
This
are all
Dravidian religion shit
things
is already debunked.
for a substantial proof which can establish scientifically and empirically that all those events have happened. The similarity of languages, for example, someone in England speaks Hindi, knows Sanskrit. That does not mean an imposition of a language. That just means a cultural exchange.
yes, yes, I agree with that. That alone is not. But what we find is gene flow, right? The genetics that correlate with language, somehow they are spread at the same way. Like, for example, in Europe, you have the Yamnaya, right? Now, the Yamnaya were a mixture of Neolithic Iranian. The Caucasus hunter-gatherers were Iranian, Neolithics, the same as the Harappans, so 50% that. And then the other half was Western hunter-gatherer. So this mixture essentially spread across Europe, and before that we see in Uralic languages over across Europe mostly, but then we start seeing them get replaced by Indo-European languages across Europe. But the thing is, I don't think the Aryan invasion theory is true because we know the Harappans were most likely speaking Indo-European, and I'll explain why. Because we, as I just said, they had Neolithic Iranian ancestry, right? And so did the Yamnaya, who spread the Indo-European languages across Europe. So based on that, but the thing
Wait,
is, we
wait.
know they spread it
I
because
have
the
a few
genes were completely replaced, the genetics, right? So this is where we base it off. We see the genetics were all of a sudden just replaced. All the male genetic component was replaced. That
questions.
indicates a yeah.
No, no. All the male genetic component was not replaced. There is an admixture. There is an admixture. There is an influence of Central Asian this, gene mixture in most of the northernmost people, and Dravidians, whatever you call them, South Indians, show a low
Well,
admixture.
no, no, no. Let me explain. No,
That
Dravidian as
that
a,
just
this
implies
genetic term is not just South
geographical
Indian.
difference, because North is more closer to Central Asia, so more susceptible to cultural exchange and hence migration as well, whereas South is not.
Okay. Let
So
me,
the science points out a completely different image of what you're trying to portray.
well, that's what I'm saying. I just cleared up that I don't believe in this Central Asian or steppe hypothesis. I cleared it up at the beginning.
Wait.
And
So
North, no, no, North is actually
let me
very
complete
Dravidian
my
as well,
complete
genetically.
my standpoint regarding your hypothesis. It was that these cultural exchanges also happen alongside and simultaneously along with linguistic exchanges, right? And then you are saying this that Harappan civilization said Indo-Iranian or some kind of language. I don't know. I don't know what that particular term is. And if so, now first one point is that Harappan civilization existed. Harappan or Indus Valley civilization? Which one are you talking about specifically?
The Harappan is the same as the Indus Valley civilization. They're interchangeable. They're literally the same thing.
The word is interchangeable. That's what I wanted you to clear about in this VC. So people do not point it out in future. Okay, now my first
Okay.
question is, if you are saying linguistics exchange, then that is very common, as I said,
That's why I'm saying, but the linguistics correlate with genetics at the same time. And I was giving the European example of the completely wiping out. And you're saying North Indian is not Dravidian, but actually North Indian is very Dravidian genetically as well. Their language has been replaced, but we see their DNA is actually Dravidian rather than
Aryan,
Indo-Iranian, or
how do
even
we establish the replacement of languages? See, IVC civilization also spoke Sanskrit, and Sanskrit was a language of the civilization's people even before you proposed these invasions and cultural exchanges, or even before the IVC.
I would
I will
like
be
to
using
interrupt.
Pragati as an
Hello.
example. I will be using ISRO's research as an example. Whatever you call me, whatever you ask, I will provide you with a research against it. Okay.
okay,
And those are
yeah.
all
But I,
done by
as you
the
said, you
premier
think okay, you think I'm
organizations of
believing
India.
in.
So ask me whatever you can.
Okay, I don't believe in Aryan invasion theory. I'd cleared that up in the beginning. So you're saying that I thought that they come from the steppe? No, I agree that the Indus Valley was most certainly Sanskrit or Proto-Sanskrit or something along that, speaking, or something somewhere around Sanskrit at least.
Array,
So that I
the
agree with that.
influence of Sanskrit can be found in hundreds of languages, including Russian and Iranian and whatnot.
Uh, no, that is the influence of Proto-Indo-European, which is a common ancestor of Sanskrit, not from Sanskrit,
So
but
what is
rather
the
they
There
share a
is,
common ancestor.
preceded
there is,
Sanskrit?
okay,
What preceded
wait.
Sanskrit? What language preceded Sanskrit? And
But
where is the script for it? Where is the proof for it?
Do you realize not all languages were written, especially not by s- hunter-gatherers. They didn't know how to
Array, so
write
you
at
are
that
again
time.
using
You know,
Anuman. Anuman means assumption as a scientific proof.
it's not an assumption. It's backed by linguistic evidence.
wait,
Since
wait. No,
Sanskrit,
no,
we
no,
know,
no,
is
no.
If you are
Wait.
saying
it
there
This
has
is
is an
diverged
linguistic
assumption.
too
empirical
early.
evidence,
Wait.
then and you are
Proto,
uh, saying again this is based on an assumption. I'm asking for a substantial proof because I have a proof for Sanskrit being
Indo-European.
spoken, Sanskrit being a
Okay,
language
where's the
of IVC
substantial proof?
people.
Okay, where's the substantial? Okay, your assumption is that Sanskrit is ancestral to European. The only thing we know for certain is that they're related. How can you say that they're ancestral? Where's your
So
proof for
exactly,
saying
that's
that
what you
Sanskrit
are
is
doing.
ancestral?
I'm not doing that. That's what you are doing.
No, wait.
No, I'm
You are
not
saying
saying I'm
that.
not saying
No, no,
Europeans
wait,
are
wait. Thinker,
ancestral
thinker,
to.
thinker. You
Yeah.
said the thing is Proto-Indo-European is a hypothesis. It's a reconstructed language, which means that people are using their own assumptions and whatever to reconstruct a new language
Okay,
which might
but
or might not have existed because this is a hypothesis. There is no society. There is no proof. There is no uh, evidence of such a language even existing.
okay,
This
let
is
me tell
scholarly
you.
opinion. Can you debunk? Can you debunk this? This is
Even
scholarly
if
opinion.
we well, even if we
Because if you
ignore
debunk this, you might
Proto-Indo-European.
win some respect in the academy.
Okay, even if we ignore like let's just say we ignore it, how can you ignore the genetic gene flow evidence, the literal evidence that Indus Valley was overwhelmingly Indo-Iranian, not not ancestral
Polyglot
ancient South
Indo-Iranian,
Indian?
when you have not yet established the movement, the direction of exchange, what if the direction of exchange was from India towards outside India? How
Well,
can you
that's where
substantially
it's
establish
completely
the direction
impossible.
of exchange? Is that not assumed?
Okay, okay, first let's start at the basics. Do you agree that humans evolved in Africa, right? Do you agree with that?
My dear, I do not want to start in the basics. I am asking you a straightforward question and I need a straightforward answer for it.
Yes, this is the only way I can explain it to you because Caucasians evolved in west of India. India
You
was the
realize,
evolution
no,
point
no,
of
no, no. Wait,
I
Australasia.
do
wait.
not want to
No,
go
no.
where
Wait.
Caucasians evolved. I am just asking you for a specific question and I want a specific answer for a period relevant to it.
Wait. अरे एक मिनट. Wait.
Yes, well,
Wait.
we know the
Why
gene
do you
flow was
think?
from
Why do you
Iran.
think?
How,
Okay.
how, how?
Wait. Why do you think? Why do you think? Why do you think humans were not present in India before IVC?
They were certainly present, but they were a different breed. We know because the genes of IVC are Neolithic Iranian. While before that, they were. We have tons of evidence of humans, but those were, guess what? Ancestral ancient South Indian, and they look like Australian Aboriginals genetically and culturally. They are not the same as Neolithic
Are you
Iranians.
saying? Are you saying that the genetics of South Indians and North Indians is different?
No, but I'm saying the genetics differing on caste are more different. I'm not trying to be racist. This is just the genetics that scientists have analyzed, and
Yeah, no,
it's
no.
not the North
Nobody's trying
Indians
to be
are
racist.
Wait
Aryan
a
or
minute.
South Indians are
How
different.
can someone correlate caste with genetics? First of all, explain me that and start from the basics. Since you like that, start from the basics.
Yes,
Okay, so they took a gene sample, right, and then they compared it with pretty much different castes across India, north and south. And what they found were that I'm not trying to be racist, but traditionally upper caste. This is just like genetic facts. Like no, I'm not saying anyone's superior than anyone else. Okay, but this is just the genetic gene flow. Is that the upper castes have mainly Neolithic Iranian plus Eurasian steppe. And then the lower castes mainly have ancient ancestral South Indian with a hint of Neolithic Iranian thrown in.
So that cannot
So
be a
we can
result
see
of a
that the
cultural
main
exchange.
genetic
It is
component.
of imposed exchange. Because if you are saying the upper caste differ from the lower caste, then we were not from here. That points out to a Aryan migration, right? That's what you were saying. And
Yes.
along with that, parallelly to that, they also impose their language. But I can debunk this
Yes.
based on linguistic proof because I'm going to use the Saraswati argument. Mentions of Saraswati in its full bloom is being given in Mahabharata, in Rigved, in every single scripture that you can find about descriptions about Saraswati. Even before that, because Saraswati dried out in approximately, I think,
1800 BC. It
not
dried out in
around
1800
roughly
1800
BC.
around
BC.
Even
3000.
1800 BC is
It
a
it started drying.
very liberal approach. Not even archaeological survey,
हाँ हाँ
survey of India as
2000
well as ISRO's research
2000
does
के
not point
बाद.
it out to 1800 BCE. That is
In
very,
fact,
It
very
dries
in
early.
fact,
after 2000. No,
okay,
wait. See, the
well,
thing is,
this
it was
Saraswati
wait. See, the thing
existed
is,
very. I know it existed.
Saraswati was already a seasonal river around 3000 BCE. We can attest to this because whatever dating you give to Mahabharata, 3000 is the max you can push back. And in 3000, in Mahabharata time, the Saraswati was a seasonal river. Like, not Mahabharata time, as in
Yeah.
the time of
So,
Pandavas.
so the Mahabharata mentions Greeks and Shakas who didn't even exist in
No, no,
3000
no. Wait.
BC,
Are
yet
No,
they
no,
bhai,
wait.
somehow.
why are
Don't,
you going to Greeks and Shakas
don't,
from changing
don't
from
derail.
linguistics to DNA? Why?
Don't derail.
No,
Don't
because
derail.
he's saying the Mahabharata happened at 3000 BC, which is where showing the Saraswati is drying in the
But his
Mahabharata, which is
argument
true.
is based
It
on
is
a
drying in the Mahabharata.
strictly on a
But
linguistic
the
My
argument.
Mahabharata didn't happen
my
in 3000
argument,
BC.
no, no, no. My argument is based on lineages. Parikshit Raja is traced back to that time, and in his time, Mahabharata was written down. That much is certain. Now, whatever is written in it, you can consider it addition or subtraction or whatever. But Saraswati, if they are saying that it was present there, then it has to be present there because if it was dried out, then they could not have written that it is a seasonal river.
I absolutely agree it was present there, but
When
The
is
dating
Parikshit
of
dated?
every, I have sent you
When is
a
Parikshit
ASI paper.
dated?
Your own
No,
ASI paper
when
was
is
saying,
Parikshit dated? When is Parikshit dated? He's
look,
a historical
the
figure, by the
dating.
way.
I know
No, no,
his
he's a
dating in
historical king.
religious texts is different from his historical dating. Look, your own paper was saying
Actually
it
said.
was using BP, which is before present, so it was counting directly before present, not BC. Your own
अरे
paper
तो
said it was
भाई
like
अरे तो भाई
1900 BC by that
अरे
logic.
ठीक है
And
2000 BC ले ले 2000 BC ले ले still proves the point that Saraswati was present back then.
absolutely, but how does that disproves the step hypothesis, which I
Because
already say I don't believe in the Aryan
does
invasion
not
theory.
align
I believe in the
that does not align with the timeline that you were giving. You were giving a timeline of 1800 BCE, and if you are going by
no, that is
4000
not the
BCE,
date for
then
the Aryans to come in. That is the date for the Mahabharata. Specifically, would be actually around 1500 BC. But that's for the Mahabharata. The Aryans came in when the Harappans came, and the Harappans came at like 7000 BC. So they were
Okay, so
definitely there for
so
the
you are
Saraswati.
saying,
Saraswati's
okay, wait, so
linguistic
you are
evidence
saying,
is based on the Saraswati argument because the mentions of Saraswati are found in Sanskrit only. And if you are saying that Saraswati existed as a fully flowing river in around 2000 BCE, for example, that is not scientifically possible.
okay, no,
But it
let's
wasn't
do
wholly
one thing.
flowing in the Mahabharata. At
Let,
2000
let,
BC, it
no,
was
no,
already described as
no, no.
drying up.
Wait. Let's talk about linguistics and the migration. If let's say the upper caste people migrated and then they were the one who created the text because obviously they were the ones who established dominance. So they created texts which supported them and they were the one who migrated from a foreign place. Let's say let's use a country, whatever you want. Let's say Greek, okay, or let's say steppe, okay. So if they migrated from the steppe, and why did they write that anyone who goes outside the border of this as in Bharat, is to be considered an outcast and not to be interacted with? Because that would be their homeland. So why would they try to demean their own homeland?
Okay. Let me explain. First of all, I thought I had cleared it up. I
So
don't believe in the
okay,
step invasion
there are
theory. I don't
many.
believe in the step
No,
migration.
no, I'm talking about any kind of wait. If you
Okay.
do not believe
Yeah.
in migration, wait. If you do not believe in migration, then the Aryan Dravidian hypothesis is bullshit.
No,
If
no.
you are
I believe in
talking
an
about
older.
Aryan
I believe in the
Dravidian
Iranian
genetic, right?
hypothesis. I don't believe in the step hypothesis. There's a difference. There's the Iranian hypothesis, and then
Whoever
there's the
came,
step
no, wait. Whoever came
Where
from
the
whatever.
Iranian hypothesis
Let's not
is
take step.
only based
I'm
on
saying I'm
majorly
saying
linguistic evidence. The closeness of Sanskrit linguistics with Iranian and other similar sister languages. But you cannot date Sanskrit to IVC only because Sanskrit mentions a lot of things that preceded the civilization, that Indic Valley, Indus Valley civilization, Harappan civilization.
There was no civilization that could have preceded Indus Valley. It's one of the oldest
Arey,
civilizations
that's
on
one of
Earth.
your assumptions, na? But facts point out to something opposite to your claims. That's what this VC is for.
the thing is, if let's assume people came from an X place, which is outside Bharat. Okay, it could be Iran, it could be Steppe, it could be Greek, it could be America, it could be Australia, it could be Africa, whatever country in the world. It's an arbitrary variable. I'm using X. Okay, X country. People came from X country, they could be aliens for fuck's sake. Now, if they came into Bharat and they said anyone who steps outside Bharat is an outcast, is a mlecha, and is to be not interacted with, and these people are the worst kind of people, and not even talking about the lower caste. They're saying these people are just barbarians. Okay, so are they saying that they came from a barbaric place to a cultured place? If that's why they don't want people to go outside? Is that what you're trying to say?
Then the Dravidian hypothesis that they followed something different from the Indic Valley people because there
So
was a
they are
majorly
actually
cultural
following the
difference.
Dravidian culture instead of
Ah,
imposing their own culture because their own culture would be barbaric.
ah,
That's how the text
who
describe
considers
lands
their
outside
own
India.
who considers their own culture as an inferior from someone else and then adopts their culture, but imposes their language on others. This is
And culture also,
Sorry.
not just language.
Yeah.
Culture
kind of a
also.
weird theory.
Culture, religion, language, everything.
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me? My thing had reloaded for a sec. My VPN was booting up.
Okay. Did you hear what I said?
एंड
Uh,
अगर हम ऋग्वेद
you
की भी बात करें तो ऋग्वेद में जो पीछे के जितने भी सूक्त लगे हैं और उसमें जितने भी पॉइंट्स जो भी ग्रामर यूज हुआ है ना वो सिमिलर है अविस्ता से जो अवस्थिक ग्रंथ आते हैं जो
yes
जुरवाष्ट्रियन
yes
पारसी धर्म में आते हैं
वो अलग बात है,
उससे
रुक जाओ।
रिलेटेड होते हैं
वो अलग
तो
बात है। नहीं नहीं, रुक
अगर
जाओ, वो
yes
अलग
ये
yes,
बात
that's
है।
correct.
वो अलग बात है, एक मिनट रुक जाओ, मेरे को बस ये बताओ, इफ समवन कम्स फ्रॉम एन एक्स होमलैंड, देयर एक्स होमलैंड, व्हाटएवर इज द होमलैंड, ठीक है, दे कम
Yeah.
इनटू भारत and then they impose their culture on the Dravidians who were living there. They impose their language, they impose their culture, they write new text which creates a new religion. I'm all going by what you said, right? They are doing all
Yeah.
this, and then they write in their text that if you go outside Bharat, then you are an outcast, you are worse than all the four castes, you are supposed to be thrown out, you are supposed to be not interacted with the people outside Bharat. They are
Okay. Did you know they
barbarians.
also
They can
yeah?
they
Did you
do
know
not
they
speak,
also
they cannot speak languages properly, they cannot speak anything properly, they cannot do anything properly. Why would someone who migrates into another place talk so much ill about their homeland?
the thing is
Just explain this to me.
they also even considered the South as that before. Before
No,
the South
no, no, no,
southern
no.
part,
There,
it
is-
was
there, is-
because
there is
it
no
was
text.
Bro, I
There
would
is
like
no
to
text
see
which
a
says this.
scriptural backing of your claims because you are talking about
okay.
scriptures and
Before
that
the
requires
Mauryans had
evidence.
come, that land was not even considered part of Aryavart. Okay, the description
Abey,
of
Okay,
who
Aryavart
told
is
you
all
okay,
the
that
world
okay.
you will
getting
Oh,
consider
oh,
separated.
oh,
Aryavart?
wait, wait,
I'll
wait,
be
wait,
giving
wait,
you
wait,
example.
wait,
I'll
wait.
be giving you
Cholas
scriptural
are
backing from
Yadavas. Do you
Manusmriti
know
itself.
this? I can give you
Yes,
school. I can give you scripture evidence that Cholas are descendant of Yadu. They are Yadavas.
yes. And do you know the Yadavas are Dravidian, of like I mean native to the subcontinent. They are not
Do
Aryan,
you know what I
as you
said?
all know.
Do you know what I said? Did you
Yes,
hear
yes.
what I
The
said? I
Cholas are
said
descendants of the Yadavas. I am aware. I am aware.
no, they
And
are
that they
not
are the
descendant of
greatest lineage
Yadavas.
of South Indian
They
kings.
are
Yes, I know.
listen. Yayati had 5 kids. The eldest of them was Yadu. Yadu was thrown out of uh, the 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 kingdom of Yayati, which was supposed to be near the Gangetic plains. Um, he was thrown out of there, and he migrated to the west, and some of his kids migrated towards the present day Maharashtra, Karnataka, and then they started dividing into lineages, which went into south.